Okay, so we talked about doing a forward fold in the lazy monkey yoga style, sun salutation, how we fold forward in sun salutations. Now we need to talk about how we stand back up. So not only have I practiced jujitsu, or have I practiced aerial silks, pole, aerial hoop, I've also practiced Pilates and parkour, free running, hatha yoga, and then all kinds of variations of different yoga styles, from Kundalini yoga to Far East Asian styles of yoga, okay? The practices that I found to be the most efficient for saving energy and also really getting into feeling the body is by rolling up one vertebrae at a time when you're standing up. There's a lot of reasons why you want to listen to me on this. Because like I said, my style is not a hatha yoga style. It is a Taoist yoga style. And that style is based in Wu Wei, action by non-action. And this is the way I was taught by my master. Okay. So I come into a forward fold, at the end of my sun salutation, whatever. Come into my forward fold. My chin is tucked to my chest. The back of my neck is completely protected and lengthening, extended out. The crown of the head is facing the earth. Because every time I step forward or step backward or fold forward, I am always tucking my chin to my chest, never looking forward, never crunching up the neck. Then from here, I can either bend the knees or not, or do a micro bend in the knees, and I'm going to allow my tailbone to drop to the earth, and I'm going to roll up one vertebrae at a time, feeling every single part of my spine and every single vertebrae as I stand up, back to a standing position. What you see in regular hatha yoga styles, you see people forward fold with a flat back and down, and you see people swan dive up with a flat back, like Chivamukti. That's what they do in that practice. Flying up with a long flat back to stand up. Who said you had to do it that way? When you practice yoga, and you practice yoga a lot, or you have a daily practice, that particular movement of forward fold and standing up and swinging your arms out to the side and keeping the back flat, that puts such a heavy load on the lower back. It's a lot. It's very, very difficult on the spine. It's jarring to the body. And we don't do anything in this practice that is jarring to the body. We want to feel everything that's going on in our salutations. We want to feel it internally. We want to build an inner awareness of our spine and the nerves and the muscles and the ligaments and the joints, and even the way the blood is pumping through our body, the way our organs are being massaged by the movement, the way the breath is coming in and out of the body, the way the diaphragm is expanding and contracting, and how your energy body is flowing. Remember, this style is based in Qigong and martial arts, and it has the exact same flow. Even doing a sun salutation series flows the same way, with control, with precision, easy and relaxed, and not jarring to the body. So when you think about the lazy monkey yoga sun salutation, think Tai Chi, okay? So If you're in downward facing dog and you're dealing with a population that is having a difficulty stepping forward, okay? So if you're dealing with a population that's older, or people who are just not flexible, or people who are not in shape, and when you tell them step forward from a downward facing dog, you'll see them look forward and straining and craning their neck to look forward, and then you'll see them and the foot's coming forward like that. That's not necessarily efficient for someone who's not mobile enough. That's a mobility problem. What I just showed you, that's a mobility problem. So when somebody is there, if that's what they're doing, when you see them stepping forward from a downward facing dog, that means that the core is not strong enough, the back is not strong enough, the legs are not strong enough to go from a downward facing dog to a lunge. They're not ready for that. And that's okay. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm in a downward facing dog. I'm going to walk my hands back, which is actually kind of good because it actually gets me into a really deep forward fold. I'm going to walk my hands back, come into my forward fold, bring my hands together in prayer, and slowly roll up from the base of the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And that feeling of rolling up from your forward bend feels so good and so yummy and so delicious. Now here's a great exercise that you can do, okay? Because we really want people getting into being able to internalize and feel this feeling of rolling up and down through the spine, is you could actually take your students, put them up against the wall, okay? Here's the other thing, wait, hold on. Here's another thing about the Lazy Monkey Yoga Sun Salutation and the Vinyasa Flow style class that we do, okay? Who said that you can't stop who said that you can't stop what you're doing when you see people struggling to do these postures and take them to the wall and help them to learn how to do these postures correctly using props and walls? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you feel or you're looking at students and you're like, this person isn't really quite grasping the concept of rolling up and down through the spine, because it works the opposite way too. You can tuck your chin to your chest and you can roll down. Then we can do that up against the wall, you see? So I'm gonna go put my students up against the wall. I'm gonna have my feet about a foot away from the wall with my back up against the wall. Bend my knees. Okay, so kind of like in a kind of easy chair here. My spine is up against the wall. Tell them, try to get your spine all the way up against the wall. Tuck your chin to your chest, head up against the wall, and try to feel as long as you possibly can. Now tuck your chin to your chest, okay? And pull the head away from the wall. Keep the shoulders on the wall. But now look between your knees and start to feel one vertebrae at a time coming off the wall. Shoulders pressing the abdomen into the wall. Starting to take the lower back off the wall. Curling into a C curve until you get all the way down into your forward fold. No space between the thighs and the abdomen. Now let's roll up. Tailbone touches the wall. Sacrum. Lower back, middle back, shoulders, and the head is the last thing to arrive. You can do that exercise with your students to teach them how to roll up and roll down, okay, through that particular transition. We're going to talk about one more thing, and then you're going to go on to the next lessons and you're going to watch the salutation sequencing, the choreographed sequencing, because remember, Lazy Monkey Yoga Flow is a It's a choreographed sequence. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an ending. And it makes sense when you're looking at it as a complete sequence. A lot of these concepts I'm telling you right now are concepts, but you won't understand why I'm telling you the things I'm telling you until you actually watch the sequence of events. You understand? Until you see the actual sequencing of the flow itself. Then you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand. Last but not least, let's talk about those warriors. Because I said we don't do warrior 1 in lazy monkey. Because we're not a hatha yoga style and we don't have to. So let's talk about warrior 2. What is the most efficient way of getting into warrior 2? Well, you will see a lot of people from a lunge come into that awkward warrior 1, okay? Whether they bring the arms up straight in front or to the side. You'll see them come into this ugly warrior 1 that everyone is struggling with, and then you'll see them open up to warrior 2. But this is not acceptable as far as everything going on in my hips, my pelvis, that affects my bladder and my genitals and my abdomen and my digestive system and my kidneys. So how do we set up a warrior 2? Well, we want to set up all of our standing postures in a way that is the easiest way to get there. The most direct way to get there. It's called working smarter, not harder. Trying to go from a crescent lunge to a warrior 1 to a warrior 2 is going around your ass to get to your elbow, okay? Standing in a very wide-legged standing straddle, this is a standing straddle stance. I call this pyramid pose. It's not pyramid pose to most people, but I look like a triangle and it's kind of like a pyramid. I already have a very wide stance here, standing straddle. Okay, so what I would do in one of my sequences, I will do a forward fold, whether or not I fold forward with bent knees, straight knees, rolling down through the spine, or even folding forward with a long spine, because folding forward with a long spine is not the same as trying to reverse that action going back up. Touching down, finding the forward fold, and feeling what's going on in my legs and my thighs, rolling up. Now, from here, in the standing straddle, I'm going to just simply flip and place my foot in the direction that I want to do my warrior 2. And I'm already set up in this beautiful long stance. Yes. And now I'm in a beautiful warrior 2. Now I'm empowered, okay? Because we want to practice from an empowered place. And that empowered place comes from feeling solid in your standing straddle and feeling solid in this stance. Because remember that we build all of our postures from the floor up in everything we do. Every single thing we do starts with our feet, our knees, our hands, and then travels up. So I've established the base. Now that the base is strong, and I'm grounded, and my center of gravity is going down into the earth. Now I can do reverse warrior, warrior 2, side angle, triangle, whatever. I can even take that. I can take it directly into half moon pose, do anything I want from that warrior 2 that is moving in that direction. But first I'm setting it up from the base. So as a quick review, what's unique about the lazy monkey yoga flowing sun salutation, is that we are always tucking our chin to our chest, dropping the crown of the head to the floor in every single forward bend, always, period. Always. And we always verbally cue it, always. Every single time you forward fold, you verbally cue, tuck your chin to your chest, drop the crown of the head to the floor, always. And the more you say it, the more your students will do it and understand what you're talking about. The next thing is rolling up one vertebrae at a time and feeling the spine coming back up into a standing position rather than trying to come up in a reverse swan dive and gripping that lower back, okay? We don't do warrior one because it doesn't make sense and because it is an unnatural position to put the hips in. That can eventually lead to problems in the lower back. And remember, if you have problems in the back, in the spine, in the actual spine, the spine is getting all screwed up, well, that's also screwing up all of the nerves, and that's also screwing up all of the messages that your brain and your spine are trying to send to your internal organs, okay? So there is a cascade effect that happens from fucking up just one posture. What else? We go into our warrior two and standing poses from a standing straddle. We always set up the base and we move from the base up. Okay, see you in class.